Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hello, I'm Alison Larkin, writer, comedian, narrator, and host of the Jane Austen podcast. Join me as we embark on a journey through Austen's timeless stories, starting with Pride and Prejudice. The Jane Austen podcast with Alison Larkin is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And let's talk about what legend's about. Let's hang out. And let's listen to two lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Let's Hang Out, the podcast with two gays who can't be killed thanks to a life-sustaining fungus under the earth. From the West Coast, I'm Lee Holmes Foster.
And from the East Coast, I'm Ellie Brigida. If you've wondered how we've survived 6 seasons, it's because of the mycelium. To those of you who have been with us through this whole journey, thank you as always for listening. If you're a new listener, welcome. We're excited to have you here. Here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This Week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. And we want to give you all a reminder that we do have a raffle going on for a HomoCo gift card. It's a $150 raffle. It's only $5 for a raffle ticket. You're going to send that $5 to our Let's Hang Out PayPal before September 15th to be entered. If you don't know what HomoCo is a queer swim brand that draws on the legacy of founder-designer Daniel Dugoff's family's Washington, D.C. area gas stations, Holmes Oil Company, that went by the nickname HomoCo. Our use of the name alludes to that history while clearly stating who the brand is for: fashionable people who love fun and homos. So if you want that gift card, make sure you do that $5 to our PayPal to be entered. And also the proceeds of that raffle are going towards our live show that Lee's going to tell you more about.
As soon as I stop, I feel like you were just trying to get me to lose it during that.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're doing a live show. You have all heard us mention it, but in case you have forgotten or you're new, welcome, and you want to hear about our live show, we are going to be doing The Flame live in New York in September 15th. We have a bomb cast. We're going to have me and Ellie and Valerie all reprising our roles alongside Jen Colella, who is reprising her role as Jo, and some new faces that we're super excited for you to see and know and love, just like we are going to know and love them. So you can get your tickets now at bit.ly/theflame54. We also are going to have a live stream of it. So if you cannot make it to New York City, we totally understand. We know that we have a lot of people who listen and it's going to be hard for them to travel. So we wanted to make sure that we had a way for everyone to join us. The live stream tickets will be going up closer to the event, but we will let you know as soon as they're available. And if you can make it, we're so excited to see you there.
Cannot wait. It is also a new season 6 for us. So we're doing something new on our Patreon. We're going to be releasing bonus episodes around once a month. So if you haven't joined our Patreon yet, now is a perfect time to do it at bit.ly/lespatreon. Right now, we have one bonus episode out for Kissing a Jessica Stein, and we have a few more coming up that we know you're going to love.
We also want to let you know about a super cool event coming up. So we know that parents of LGBTQ plus youth want to know how to support their kids legally, emotionally, and physically, and Pride and Joy Foundation wants to help. They're hosting a live virtual event for parents to answer those exact questions. They're going to have 3 experts who will be sharing their knowledge on how to be the first line of defense and harm prevention for LGBTQ kids. And that's going to be on Tuesday, September 13th at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. If you want to learn more and register, you can visit prideandjoyparents.com.
Also, in the greater Les universe, A League of Their Own just came out. Every gay person I've talked to, obsessed. The straights, however,
womp womp,
not very happy. Not very happy. So, Lee, do you want to just read some of these reviews on Amazon because they are killing me. So this is from Autostraddle. It's called 32 Excerpts from Really Special League of Their Own Reviews written by homophobes who've had quite enough. All right, here we go. The first review from homophobes. Wanted baseball? Got gay. Not for me.
Up next, we have a league of inspirational women breaking barriers or a league of sexually confused / lesbian women, ? To which I say, why not both?
Exactly. Or, as a woman who played baseball throughout my life, I find the impression that all women who play baseball are lesbians is highly offensive.
Okay, maybe I'll read this one as our last one. We stomached 2 episodes. Lesbians were the theme. The left ruins everything.
Incredible.
Sign me the fuck
Wait,
up.
I'm sorry, but just one more. Women in the 1940s were conservative and respectful. This series tried to make them into whores and lesbians.
Where do we get can I make us a whores and lesbians shirt?
Yeah. I love it. Oh my God.
Okay.
That is
whores and lesbians with just like a baseball bat behind it. That's what I want.
That is killing me.
Yeah, so listen, we are both the worst professional lesbians ever. We still have not had a chance to watch the season, but we will be getting to it. It
I'm
just
watching
came out,
it tonight.
okay?
I am watching it tonight. Do
I
not
am
worry.
too. It just came out. But what I do know is that if you have watched it, or possibly even if you haven't, they are getting slammed on their reviews on Amazon. So I know that we've been working to bring the rating back up, but if you get a minute, please rate it and help it. It had like a 1-star rating like this morning. So please get on there, leave a good rating so that we can get more seasons of it, because we just need more seasons of like anything ever, please.
I cannot with these people. Those reviews are killing me though. They're hilarious. But that's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee. We are so excited to bring you episode 2 of season 6, Collar Bills. And we are joined by a very special guest today. You may know her as a healer, as a witch, as a shipbird, as Rael Collar on the hit show Motherland Fort Salem. We are so excited to welcome Taylor Hickson to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I physically could not have asked for a better introduction, so thank you. That's going on my Wikipedia page. That is
great.
Yes.
You can credit us and you can have it. You know?
Collar Bills. Also, we were spending like 20 minutes talking before this episode, and it was mostly so that Lee could come up with a clever intro. So thank you for waiting, because it was worth it.
Thank you.
That's what we were waiting on.
I also
worth it.
It's because I spent too much time coming up with all of our episode titles are like terrible puns, and I was writing way too many of those. Like I'm just texting Ellie. I'm like, ideas for what we could call this episode, because I had too many title ideas.
Oh my God.
They write themselves. Our second choice was Spreebird.
Spreebird. That's awesome. I should start doing that. I write in my journal and I started giving them chapters. I should just make them all horrible puns.
Yes.
That's what we did. We decided our aesthetic
puns.
for the show is like lesbian Blues Clues. It's
done us well so far, you know?
Oh, I love puns.
Yes.
Well, but I felt like Spreebird, like I wanted to focus more on Rael, you know? So we went with Collar Bills.
Yes.
Even though Spreebird made me laugh.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us, Taylor. We're going to be talking today about Motherland Fort Salem because we love the show. Also think it's
no one has ever heard us talk about
I also think it's
before.
Hilarious. You're our 3rd cast member to be on Let's Hang Out.
We're obsessed. We have a problem.
We're like, we're not going to stop. We're just going to keep
missing
going.
the part where this is a problem. I'm not
it isn't.
seeing
No, it's
an
not.
issue.
It's actually incredible. Like
we're gonna just slowly get all of you on, and then we'll do like a Let's Hang Out reunion episode where we'll like bring you all back on together.
The reunion episode is just the entire
great.
cast. That would be amazing,
awesome.
actually.
Friends did it. Why can't we?
Yeah, we totally can.
Yes.
But I would love to start our episode. I actually don't think this is on our outline, but I always love asking actors this question. So I would love to start with like, how did you get cast in Motherland Fort Salem? Because I love a casting story.
I've told this story a bajillion times. So for anyone else who's heard this, just fast forward like a minute or 5 because I talk so much. But basically, I auditioned. And so this is some new information. I found some old emails when I was going through my emails. I actually went out for Tally and Scylla. And I forgot about that because by the time I heard back from my audition, I'm not sure which self-tape they originally responded to, but they were interested in seeing me for Rael. And it took, I think it was almost half a year. So I had completely forgotten about the project. I had pocketed it, and my agents brought it up to me and they said, hey, they're actually interested in seeing you for this. So I started doing auditions. I did another self-tape. And then I went in room in Vancouver, and I was still living in Kelowna at the time. And then eventually they said they wanted to chemistry read me. I actually knew the person that they were looking at for a casting option up in Vancouver as Scylla. She was my friend. So, we took advantage of it. We met at her house. We kind of read over everything. And we're like, oh, this is awesome. We already have rapport. Yeah, we had practice. It was great. And we went in and read. And then the next thing we knew, they were flying us down to LA, which is the really scary part because you walk into a room and there's lights on you and there's nothing around you to interact with. You have to just completely use your bare environment and imagination. And you have to do it in front of like 30 suits who can make or break your career. And they kind of kept playing musical chairs with us, swapping in rails, swapping in tallies, swapping in Scyllas, and sort of mix and matching to see the sort of best combination they could come up with for chemistry. Took a break and, we were all freaking out. We were all kind of bonding over the fact that everyone had nervous shits and we all kept running. Oh my God. So we were all so scared.
How many stalls were in the bathroom?
Not enough. That's how we got to talking.
I bet no one's asking
We're
that
all like
in
tapping our feet and some girl
hard-hitting journalism is what we said, and now you're getting it, okay?
She said, is anyone else... Oh, I think she said something. Is anyone else's asshole beatboxing or something? And I just put my hand up in shame. And then everyone else kind of went, yeah. Oh, and I was like, this is great. We got open energy. But we walked out for lunch and Amalia and Dimitri are sitting at a table with someone else that was auditioning. And they had already gotten their calls. And I was with someone who was casted as Abigail in the pilot. And, this was before we were both casted, and we're looking at each other going, oh my God, what do we, we still haven't gotten our calls yet. We're still in LA. We're still auditioning. So I was freaking out, and I had to go back into the room with Amalia knowing that she already had the part, that if I fucked this up and if I couldn't get a connection with her, it was over. And, it was between someone I had rapport with, my friend, and a complete stranger who threw me off. Oh my God, she didn't read the lines at all, like how I would have interpreted them, which she made me so uneasy and unsettled, and she made me feel really small, and I just wanted to prove myself. And I think, in retrospect, I keep saying that I think that's what worked because she had that siren effect on me. But, I walked out of the room going, oh my God, I blew it. If she is the part, I'm screwed. So I went back in the next day and did some more testing, and then I flew home. And about 2 weeks goes by, and that's a really bad sign. After you've tested for something, you should just give up. After 2 weeks, you're just in the can. So I get a call, and they tell me that they're going to keep auditioning for people to see my role. So, they said, just good for you for getting it this far, but just, give up. And I said, okay. And then the day after that, they called me and told me I'd booked it. So I don't know what the scare tactic was, but it worked. And I was so, so grateful. I sat on the floor and I cried. And then shortly after, my best friend, who was the original Abigail, she got her call too. So
that's amazing.
Pretty crazy.
Ellie's gonna keep asking people this question now, and now she's gonna ask how much they had to shit during their
Yeah, I'm like, so did you have nervous shits when you got
the yes.
Or
us? After we put our heart, soul, and question repertoire
for this.
Yes.
Incredible. And how much did you know about the role at that point, especially since you were going out 4 other parts? In your mind, how much did you know about Rael as a character?
Well, they one thing I will commend Elliot and the producers and the network for is they gave us each write-ups that went very, very much into depth about our characters. I remember them describing Tally as a living exclamation mark, and I remember being like, okay, have a very so vivid
accurate
painting of how this character looks. But my character is very tormented and grief-stricken and forlorn. And, I went in having a bit of a struggle trying to understand her at first because so much of what it was written seemed like she was weak and controlled by her own emotions. And in a sense, she is. But, throughout the pilot, we started having this conversation, and they're like, there's something that's not clicking. And, if we don't find that, then I don't know if this is going to work. So, of course, I start to panic because I'm going, I know I'm the right person for this role. They just have to tell me what they want. Like, I can do it. That's my job as an actor, is to adapt. And I was just like, they just got to tell me what they want. And that's the trouble with pilots, is that it's a guessing game. They don't know what it is until they see it, or until they, bring someone else in that just has that thing that they were missing. And so I'm panicking and I'm in tears, and I go to an acting coach, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is how I auditioned for the role, and I'm playing her the exact same. And my acting coach goes, I don't want you to change anything about the way you're performing the role. I was like, okay. And she said, I want you to strengthen through your spine, plant your feet in the ground, and speak from your diaphragm. I can already see what it is. And I'm an 18-year-old, I think, at this point, 18 or 19, maybe newly 20, somewhere in there. So I'm still quite young, I still have that awkward teenage essence about me, which is what worked for playing an 18-year-old, but that's what they wanted. So I walked in and I did the big fight scene with Abigail that's in the pilot, and they went, oh my God, that's it. That's her. And I was like, oh my God, you guys just wanted me to stand up straighter and talk from my groin? That's it.
Did they try getting you some boots? Like, they should have gotten you the boots to wear, I think. I think that would have helped.
I think that was one of my first days actually wearing the boots, was when I did the combat scene, because, we kind of jump around, but I was always in civvy clothes. So it was my first time kind of being in these, our army wear. And yeah, and I just sort of practiced my stature, but I didn't change anything about, my voice or the way that I approached the role or the way that I was acting. It was just stature. But it was so interesting how no one could pinpoint it. But, I interpreted her as weak because of the way she was written, but they wanted to see that the strength was potential in her. They wanted to see her capability. They wanted to see that trajectory, and it was just a little thing, imposter. So interesting.
I love that. I actually would really love to talk more about the trajectory, because you are right. It's been a wild change. Yes. I mean, a lot of time has passed, right? But there's been a lot of things that have happened. So what was it like, just exploring Rael's journey from season 1 and 2 through to now? And also, for clarification, I'm I think we're on episode 2 or 3, Lee, of season
3. Yeah, 3.
As of recording this, there are 3 episodes of season 3 out.
Yes. So I'm trying not to spoil it for everyone.
The last thing that I think I saw was Rael is got taken down by the mycelium, and then her mom.
Rael's grounded. Mom grounded her.
Her mom,
literally
that whole scene.
Is that an accurate description?
Just so you know what
pulled
journey.
her into the ground and locked her in a room.
Yes.
And now you're grounded.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what
that's as far as we can talk about. I mean, they kind of showed little bits and pieces of the next episode of, what Tally's vision sees. And it obviously looks really intense and sort of ethereal wherever Rael is. And it's hard to decipher where at any point in time or if that can happen. It's all kind of, there's nothing linear about it. But I mean, there's definitely nothing linear about my trajectory or Rael's. I mean, the reason actually why that our story took that turn in the arc was because I got into a car accident that left me with a pretty bad brain injury. And I was in the dark for about a month and a half and sort of immobile and not able to do much. And so within the week, our writers basically had to reconstruct the entire trajectory of season 3. And that's massive because, this is where they're trying to tie everything up with a nice bow. We've been told we only have one more season. So I commend so greatly our writers team, especially Brian Studler and Elliot and Amanda Tapping, our director producer as well, for, taking such great care of me and keeping everything moving along. Blows my mind between the interruptions with COVID and my accident and other injuries that happened to cast as well. We made it. It's quite a marvel to see this thing up on screen, but I am sort of watching like an audience member because I missed I think I didn't even finish episodes 1 and 2 that we were block shooting. So some of the stuff that you saw was shot after I had healed from my accident, and I was brought in to do these scenes that were sort of out of context. And I was still suffering from confusion and amnesia. So, I did these little bits with Willa and whatnot, and they sort of peppered them throughout the first few episodes. So I am kind of I wasn't able to read, and I missed a lot of the episodes. So I don't know what's going on. I'm watching this like an audience member, and I also committed to that choice because once I was able to read again, I was like, do I want to know, or would I can I have the privilege of watching something new and not knowing where it's going to go? And I have to say I enjoy it so much because I'm not thinking or predetermining where our story is going to go. And it's like I get to watch it like everybody else. So it's definitely a new lens that I'm loving. But
yeah.
How do you feel being a Motherland Fort Salem fan? Do you feel like
I've been a Motherland Fort Salem fan. I was the number one stan. I was the number one stan.
Yes. I do remember, I feel like first season you were like all over Twitter.
Yeah.
Like every episode. It was like, what is Taylor going to say about this episode?
I always am. I love live tweeting. That's honestly very quickly become one of my favorite parts of sharing the story, is just having that interactive environment. I've been kind of off social media so far, but it's so nice to get on every Tuesday and just have this routine thing where I get to reconnect and there's everything shuts down, so I can just sit down and do this and hang out with you guys. So I've been loving it. I mean, look at the smile on my face.
I know.
Obviously, I've been loving it. Like I get giddy talking about it.
Your eyes have completely gone.
Yeah,
away.
right.
Yeah.
So as a fan, what do you think of that pilot boots wearing Raelle to where Raelle is now?
No kidding. My favorite thing about being able to watch mine and Raelle's growth in parallel is that we did grow in parallel. I mean, I have never had the privilege before in my career to be able to grow alongside a character for that length of time. 4 years I got to grow alongside this character. That's twice as long as I was in high school. So, this is, it certainly feels like a graduation. I feel like I'm matriculating out of this more than anything high school ever taught me.
Almost like finishing war college,
Yes.
Nailed it right in the head. But yeah, you see so much of our parallels. It just so happened that when I happened to be grieving in my life, it was very much in tandem with Raelle and what she was experiencing, and the loss of someone who was a parental figure. I lost my grandpa, and so much of that is honest. And I experienced a heartbreak after being in a partnership for 4 years, and thinking that I was young. I thought maybe I might spend my life with that person, and to have my chest ripped out of my heart. And it happened on set too. We weren't able to see each other. We were cities away, and the relationship didn't survive it. And so much of that translates into how Raelle feels and how she grieves and mourns. And yeah, it was just so odd how so much, not only in our political world, mirrors the motherland world, but just as well as my own personal hardships. And I can sort of say that for most of the people, most of the other cast. So much of what you're seeing is genuine and honest, and people are pulling from the current hardships they're experiencing. And it was just a bit freaky how some of the writers could predetermine where our personal lives were on their own journey, without ever having speaking about it. It was just something like fate.
Yeah, I mean, I do think like the acting is so honest on Motherland. It's like this like completely like fantasy world, and yet everything feels so real between the people.
Totally. I mean, you're watching like even with BLM, and then all of they had those protests going on in our show. It was just, and with COVID, and then the plague, like the way it was just so much of it was in tandem, and it was so eerily coordinated that it was almost affirmation that this story, this message needed to be out there for all of us. For all of us to relate, to find purpose, to find connection at a time when we all felt really isolated, and we physically, literally were isolated. I think I honestly credit that to so much of the reason why we have the family around Motherland we do today, because people were lost and afraid and looking for something to help everything make sense, or to hide from the scary things happening, political climate, and our societal climate. So many of the happenings on Motherland, I think, reframed things in a way that helped me understand what was going on, and how to manage my own feelings and expectations of what was going on. And I found that to be true with a lot of the other people, on Twitter.
It's funny that you're saying that, because one of the things that when I was watching the last episode, like episode 3 that just came out, that was occurring to me is that it's like, because Ellie and I talk a lot about how one of our things, like anytime you're watching like a fantasy show or a movie, or like reading a book set in like a, like world building kind of thing, it's like we hate when people feel the need to like include homophobia, because it's like there's no, like, dream bigger, like dream better than that.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I always think is like so great though is when you have like a show like Motherland, right? Where like we talk all the time about how like magic witches were like basically gay culture, like stand-ins stand-ins for gayness. Even better if you actually like make them gay, A+, top marks. But what I love is there are so many ways that you can still work in the angle of like oppression, otherness, like all of this stuff. Like when you see things like the Camarilla and you're like, this feels vaguely familiar as gay people to like have a group of fascists who like want to kill you all, like, actually rings a few bells. But it's fun when you can do that with like the level of separation where I'm like, I don't actually want a show. I don't want to sit and watch like fascists trying to kill gay people. Like, that's not fun.
No, because that's a reality.
But, like, right. You're like, that's the news.
I'm watching this to
like,
not.
Yes.
That's just CNN. I don't need that. No. But it's fun when you're like, oh, but now they're witches and they can like literally just disintegrate them on site. Like, here for that shit.
Period.
Yeah. Like, give me that. That's what I want.
Think too, I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, I think there's a thread of like queer people and also like anyone who's been othered just like really vibing with witches because it gives the other power, right?
Yes.
Where it's like we are being othered, but we're also more powerful than you. So sorry.
That.
Like, yeah, it really hits.
Yes,
like,
Ellie. Yes,
we're more powerful, and also we can't be killed.
So. We've had some like round table discussions about this.
Job.
Yeah, actually, let's talk about the unkillable because, like, in terms of LGBTQ rep, Motherland Fort Salem has really fucking nailed it.
Chef's kiss when you make your gay character unable to be killed because we've got some wounds. We have some prior trauma that we need to deal with, and everyone loves an unkillable gay is all I'm gonna say.
Yes. So yes. So how is that for you to be that unkillable queer character on TV, especially knowing that like the bury your gays trope has been such a thing in TV forever?
Yeah. Well, I mean, comically, I don't think I've ever died more on screen than Azrael, but
yep.
Other than the irony of that, I mean, to have the cycle of, life and death keep coming back, which, I mean, I think speaks so much to the grander cycle of Rael and Scylla and their life and death companionship. It wasn't something that I really processed because I was just so absorbed in getting to know this character and every sense of the feeling and enjoying the relationship building that was going on between myself and Amalia and myself and the other girls. I was just enjoying my job. And so much of the political message of this show really becomes apparent when it goes out into the world and these discussions start. Because, I'm only one person, I miss things. And even, when I say we have these like roundtable discussions with all the cast and we're all getting really deep and philosophical at really inappropriate times, like 3 p.m. when it should be like after midnight. But like that's the fun of our job. We kind of all like counsel each other in these characters and really get into the therapy of it all. But yeah, these are things that I think are easily missed, and that's what's so important about the show is because it opens the gate for these larger conversations. So thank you so much for adding that. It's gorgeous, but
You're
it's
welcome.
like it's infinite what it means to me. It's completely altered.
We're gonna come back and do this after midnight tonight, and we'll get even deeper into it. Don't worry.
Love this,
but we've got more. We'll bring some wine.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a thing.
Let's hang out after midnight. After hours.
Midnight. Yes.
Let's hang out after hours. Oh my god,
Lee,
the
it's
fun we can
already
have.
after
double the
hours for me.
swearing.
Like
It's true. It would be very late for Ellie. It's
I'm like,
wait, what time is it where you are right now?
It's like almost 9. I know.
I know you.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
wondering, Taylor, what time is it where you are?
It's almost 6.
Okay,
yes,
so
you're
you and I
saying-
can have after hours, and Ellie will just have to like deal with it.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm getting old. I can't.
At least the cocktail hour, we're like starting on the appies, like still having a
Yes.
beer
Yeah,
on the patio.
yeah.
Yes. I'm like already at the after party, so it's fine. But also like for the LGBTQ community, it is, I feel like, so important to have these characters who I don't know what happens at the end of season 3. So please God, hear my prayer that nothing
You can't kill her; she's unkillable.
nothing bad will happen to our
She
gays.
can't die.
But it really is so important to have those characters who, like, I'm even thinking about, I really need to do a rewatch, but like the first episode of Motherland Fort Salem, you're like, this is gay.
Yes. Oh
it
yeah,
al-
yeah.
it also
Listen,
just, like,
I was literally just thinking this, Ellie, that I was like, Motherland hits so many of our bullet points, which is like unkillable gays, like actual queer relationships, like jumping each other's bones in episode
like
1.
immediately,
here
like
for
what
it.
is happening?
Like,
Me and Amalia petitioned. We're like, when are we gonna have another sex scene? We're like, that was so much fun. Like you just, you're like, okay, you guys don't know
Yep.
each other. Why don't you grab each other
Listen, you
and
gotta have
suck
it.
face
You gotta
for
have
6
it.
hours today? We were like,
Yeah.
good, love
Wait,
it.
did you
Nice.
really film
I-
that scene for 6 hours?
Yeah, that stuff takes so long. So, between setups and whatnot, like, and there's choreography to it. Like the camera. I'm like, if I'm like, okay, I want to push her against the wall. What does that look like if everyone else has to build around us? So we're getting in blocking, and we're just like, I don't really know Amalia, but I'm just like, can I touch you there?
Good thing
like,
you had those chemistry reads together, so that like day 1, you're just like up against the wall, please. Like here we go.
That's it. But I think it's because of that, Amalia and I from the get-go were like, okay, let's break the boundary. Let's just kiss during the blocking so that it's not weird. We can get comfortable with each other, and then make the choices that actually feel good and nuanced and authentic to us. So, we tried to have fun with it, even though we were both so nervous. Well, I mean, like, I was probably more nervous than her. I can only speak for myself, but it always feels odd.
When we have Amalia on, we'll ask her how nervous she was. I mean, we haven't gotten the whole cast yet, so like we'll just...
But like,
she's gotta be next.
I had to jam my hand down someone's pants, and then, it's never like never comfy. I'm just like, even when you're alone with someone,
I will beg to differ slightly, but probably with fewer cameras on you.
It's like even though it's a closed set, there's still like a dozen people in the room watching this, "Oh," or like having to listen to your kissing noises. It's just like these are all things that you're so hyper.
3 is a crowd, 12 is a little much, sure.
Yeah. But like, so that was the thing. Amalia and I were just like from the get go, what makes you uncomfortable? And we were both kind of like, there's not much that doesn't, we know we're in a professional setting. We both have partners at this point. So we're just like, let's just go for it. Like, let's just do it. And I think because we didn't leave room for weirdness. We were just like, we just got to fucking gun for it.
Just do it.
Otherwise it's not going to feel honest to us. And we need to have fun doing it because sex is fun. And it should appear that way. It shouldn't appear choreographed and awkward. And so, we just had fun with the flirtiness of it and played with the power dynamic. And, that's the fun stuff that you get to pull apart once you get all the awkward physical dance moves out of it, you know? So, yeah.
Well, and that pairing, man, you've had some power dynamics to play with because, oh my God. I mean, here's what I think is great is, because I mean, I'm saying that, and I do love a straight out the gate, like, we're here and we're queer and we are sucking face on your screen. Like, I love it,
Let's
right?
do it.
Like, give me that. Give me, like, Dickinson did that, First Kill did that, like, here for it. Because sometimes as queer people, like, you see a show where they're, like, teasing it, you know, and they kind of promote it on that, like, will they, won't they? And then you're like, are you going to do this for, like, 6 seasons before you let them kiss? Because, like, I don't have that much time. Like, come on. Like, just tell me, is this going to happen? Am I going to be making it up in my head? Like, what are we doing here? And so it's good. It's just like nice when you like start it off and you're like 10 minutes in and you're like, oh, it's gay. Cool. Yeah, it's good. I'll keep watching. But also, like, I do love a slow burn. I love an enemies to lovers. Like, I'm a big fan. And so it's so great, like, how Raelle and Scylla play out because you get to do, like, so many of these journeys, right? Because you're like, you get the straight out the gate where you're like, and here we go. Like, we're dating. We're doing this. We're here. And then you're like, secrets. Now she's the enemy. Now there's betrayal. Now there's lies. Now there's like, I'm strapped to a chair and I choose you. And now there's like, now we're in the woods. And
This is
now
a really
there's
good
all sorts of
synopsis.
stuff.
I was gonna say, I'm just gonna quote this, and this can be like our Disney Plus
it's
right
me,
up.
Yeah, I love
it's
it.
me doing the like the you know, like it's like if you were watching a fan vid, but it's just me talking at you, and it's like there's a flower in your hair, and we're dancing at a wedding, and I'm strapped to a chair. Okay,
Yes,
it's great. I'm just saying, I love all of the different dynamics. Like, what has it been like getting to play all of these different like? This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And as we head into Thanksgiving time, I want to start by thanking my wife, Kelsey, who has not only listened to just about every episode of this podcast for 8 seasons now, but who also is the only reason I'm able to make time to record it every week. She takes the kids, gets them dinner, and gets them ready for bed just so that Ellie and I can come on and yell about gay things into each other's faces for an hour. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people you're grateful for in your life, including yourself. I've been in therapy for a long time now, and one thing that's so important about therapy is how it teaches you to be more intentional. And being intentional about gratitude and how to show that to the people you appreciate is just one of the many benefits that I've gotten from therapy over the years. If you've been thinking of starting therapy, consider giving BetterHelp a try. I know how hard it can be to find time for regular therapy, and BetterHelp is designed to be flexible and convenient for your schedule. You can fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to start being more intentional about gratitude in your life, visit betterhelp.com/letshangout today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/letshangout.
Let's hang out.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, and when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, and when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Hey, do you like true crime? Me too. And I know what you're thinking. There's so many true crime pods out there, you've already heard all the stories. Well, what if I were to tell you you're wrong? I'm Leroy Luna, the host of Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the podcast that takes a hardcore look at softcore crime. I've got a back catalog of hundreds of bizarre and hilarious stories just waiting to be heard by you. So come join me. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th every month, baby.
Kind of capsules of a relationship together.
Yeah. It feels honest because that's what relationships do. You know, they push and pull, and almost every relationship at least experiences a point of hardship where you kind of have to decide, do we want this? Are we willing to make this work? You know, despite everything, what does love mean to you? I'm watching this sort of this really interesting series called Couples Therapy. And, you know, it quite reminded me a lot of the, you know, I just sort of pictured Scylla and Rael sitting down and what they would have to say and, you know, talking through the betrayal. And I think their communication and their want to be there is the reason why it worked. They wanted to be there. They wanted to show up for each other. I mean, otherwise it just doesn't happen. You have to want to show up for somebody. You have to want to compromise. And that's a hard thing to do. I mean, they're both strong personalities. And I mean, I can reciprocate that. I myself am a very strong personality. And I've always tended to dating people who were a lot more passive than me. So taking on a role where, you know, I was challenged in that aspect as a character really hit home with me because, you know, I wouldn't understand some of the choices that they were making. And I had to believe in everything that Rael was doing. I had to have faith in where the path was going because I couldn't fathom it sometimes. You know, it didn't make emotional or intuitive sense to me. So I learned so much about compassion and empathy that way. And I learned a lot about compromise in a relationship. And you have to want to be there. You have to love this person innately in and out to show up.
Okay, important question, because I was going to ask, how do we get the Rael Scylla couples therapy spinoff?
Yes.
But follow-up question, where do we just get...
Oh my
it would
God.
be great. Or
Such a
can
fun
we
role
also
play.
just have the, like, you and Amalia running couples therapy, like, for other couples? That would be...
That's
Amazing.
almost
I
better.
have 2 spin-off ideas, is what I'm saying. Okay, Freeform, hit me up. We'll talk.
You have
We'll
a
talk
Sagittarius and an
details.
Aries telling people what to do with their
Oh,
emotions. That
God.
sounds terrible, but so fun. I love
Great.
this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great reality TV.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
I think so. I'm onto something, Ellie. Stop shutting me down my ideas.
You don't
okay?
know. You definitely
Thank
are.
you, Arlie.
It's highly watchable. There's a gap in Freeform's programming right now, so we gotta add.
Period. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Yep. Oh my God. We've talked a little bit about like Scylla and Rael and their relationship, but what have been some of your favorite moments for the two of them?
Honestly, that first salva scene never loses its effect on me. It grabs me. It also with just a sense of firsthand nostalgia and that first special moment. And I think any of these quiet, intricate moments are so special to me. You know, when we're pulled out of the group dynamic and you're pulled out of the world dynamic and it's just the two of them, and you know, the only thing that surrounds them is them and their feelings, and they're spending quality time with each other. I think partially because that's such a love language for me, that, you know, that's something that I'm really invested in watching and experiencing. So watching the little quiet moments where it's just the two of them and everything feels quiet and it's not life and death like Motherland constantly.
Always
you know?
is.
You look away, you miss like 2 years worth of material. So I think I've just really learned to appreciate those moments, because I think it's where we get to feel most honest and vulnerable, and it's also the easiest stuff to do. It's the hardest and the easiest, and it's the most rewarding. I think what I'm trying to say is just like it feels special. Those are the memories that I hold on to dearly, and they're the ones that affect me personally the most. That, you know, when I think back to the show, those stick out for me quite a bit. I mean, just like the one we did under the sheets just recently, or like I really loved the reunion moment where I think it's episode 8, season 2, you know, after so long, and this, just that, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the feeling, like if you've ever broken up with a partner and then had to share space with them. You know, you go to a party and they're across the room, and you know there's
Are you familiar with that feeling, Ellie?
There's so
Yes,
much
I am, and I'll
unsaid.
cut that out of the episode, please.
And the feeling in your tummy, and like it's just like it's nauseating, and every piece of you, like the matter that makes you is just like magnetized to them, and there's nothing you can do except just feel. Like there's no logistics, there's no thinking about it, and I'm well acquainted with that feeling. And so just knowing that, you know, that sort of teetering moment of them getting back together, they're like their fingers touching, and just that horrible tension in every space that they're sharing was just such a breath of relief. And it was also a breath of relief, you know, as myself, because I'd missed Amalia so much as a scene partner for season 2. So I really love any of the magic moments that they have together, you know, that are sort of like lit really blue. I just, it feels very them, you know, them in the night, them in the quiet, them lit up looking like Avatar's Pandora, like anything like that. It's just so fairy tale like for me, and I really get lost as you know, in the cinematography of it and the art of it and the feeling, which I can so much accredit to, you know, our incredible camera team and the people who write our score, Brandon, you know. So it's those things.
Did you know like the response that you were gonna get from the fans, like this, what the ship was gonna be like in terms of the fan response?
Shot in hell. Like I treated it like any romantic partnership on screen. It was not something I even registered remotely until it went out in the world, and I was like, wow, people are really responding to this. And then, you know, I always speak to the idea that I was quite blinded because I grew up seeing so much of myself in media. I didn't realize the absence and the importance of what Elliot was doing and what messages and storytelling Elliot was bringing to screen, and how, you know, he was writing stuff that I think he needed when he was younger and didn't have. And it was mind blowing how quickly such a safe space was created for people, and it just grew it was so expansive, and I felt so welcomed and so loved. And that was my 3rd TV show, you know, so I can really speak to the fact that it was a very special experience with our audience, and the people who tracked and enjoyed the show as much as we did. So it was.
Yeah, we always say to anyone who's on, who's like been part of a lesbian or queer ship, or just like, you don't understand what it's going to be like until you're there. And then also like
we're feral.
We will never
we will never leave.
Like, you will literally be like 85 years old and people will be like, remember when
you'll be 85 doing like Shakespeare in the Park, and you're gonna have like a whole
lesbian come
queer
up to you and be
contingent
like,
in there being like, yeah,
Rayla
we love
photos.
Rael, we love you from across the country.
but we are strong, we are loyal to the death. So just be prepared for that.
That's how it feels.
I feel like they should have you sign a waiver now. Like, do you accept
you prepared for this?
yeah, like you are now acquiring a rabid
fan base. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, get
Sounds
ready
special.
for all of the conventions, all of the photo ops.
Well, and knowing that now, and like being, like being this far in, like this many years into it, are there things now that you think, like, where do you see what feels different to you about like Rael and Scylla as a relationship, like in the landscape of like queer couples on screen? Like, what do you try to bring to like that's just you?
That's so. I think it's impossible to answer that question because there was no intent for that. There was no aspiration to hit a specific goal or to hit an aesthetic or tone with it. The only thing we aimed for was how we could be as vulnerable and honest with each other all the time, because that's what the role requires, and that was like the best thing we could give, with the honor of the opportunity we had. That's the best gift we could give to each other, is just show up and be there for each other. And even when the camera's not looking, to do things that administer a connection, to do things that feel real and authentic to us, to do things that don't feel performative, but to create a comfortability and a connection between us that felt unbreakable and that felt we could tap into at any given moment, because that's what TV's like. A lot of times you're not allotted the time to work on these things. Maybe around the pilot they work hard at chemistry building, but beyond that it's your job as an actor to make those moments for yourself. So we spent a lot of time speaking in the green room, talking about our own relationships and what we were pulling from, and sort of therapizing each other and what we were thinking in the scene. Where were you drawing from? What can I do for you? Or taking turns, and Amalia was especially good at this, changing up what you're doing so that there isn't a predictability following it, so that she would get a different reaction from me by, inspiring something beforehand, that, when the camera would turn, all of a sudden she would change what she was doing, and it would alter the tone or the feeling in the scene on my behalf, and vice versa. It was all about play and just being really open with each other. Because when you have any sort of closedness, it's impossible to work. You're not going to get the work, and it reads as rehearsed. It reads as performative. It reads as sterile. So it was just, that was our aim, was just to be honest with each other and to bring all of our lived experience that we could pull from into the same space and share with each other, share the ugly shit, share our dreams, share our goals, because that's how you get to know your partner. It's very, very intimate. It's someone who knows you literally inside out better than anybody. So, I think in order for that to read, we just had to put in the legwork and care about what we were doing. It's about investment. It's about committing. It's all the same things that are required in a real partnership.
Well, I think sterile probably low on the list of ways people describe their relationship.
Thankfully.
So you're good. You nailed it.
You did get it. Yeah.
You did.
No, I mean, that openness shows. It shows. Like, I think you're right. That's why people just can relate. Like we said earlier, like everything does feel so honest on the show.
Yeah, you have to get over the uncomfortable hurdles. Like, there's going to be stuff that feels clunky and awkward, and you got to show up and be a teammate. you got to look out for the other person, and that's the only way you're going to get the best result.
Speaking of stuff that feels honest on the show, so we know you sing, we know you play guitar. We talked a little bit before we started recording about some music stuff, but I'm curious in terms of like on the show, whose idea was it to include that? Was that something that they asked you to do? Was it something you were interested in doing?
Definitely wouldn't be the boom guy or the sound team, because they had to listen to it incessantly. Like I'd be like, like right before, and then they'd be like, rolling, and I'd be like, la la la. And then Ashley would be like, Tay, you're singing, dude. Like, and I was like, oh, sorry. Like, it was just nonstop. Really bad habit of that. But I don't know. I remember having a conversation with Elliot in the pilot, and we were just sort of sitting down in my trailer, and, kind of still getting to know each other and just talking about things that we loved. And I remember explaining that I felt such a contradiction, and I felt really torn about leaving my music career, and I kept feeling like I wanted to go back to it, and I just kept booking other things, and then I felt it sort of settled in the dust, because that was originally my first aspiration. That was my first career choice, and it sort of fell away, and I felt like it was failure. I felt like I didn't give myself to my craft like I should have, and I was questioning my choices, and I loved acting so much, but I was like, I don't know how to juggle these things. It really feels like I have to pick one or the other, and I'm a bit hurt by it. I don't know how to navigate this. And Elliot, he spoke, of his love for music, and he's like, I'm going to tell you something that someone once told me, and this has stuck with me. So, like, this will stick with me for the rest of my life. It's one of those things that I don't have a good memory, but I really distinctly remember this. He said, music will always wait for you. And I was like, wow, like it clicked. I was like, it will. It doesn't have to be something that I monetize. I don't have to put this pressure on it to make it a career. It can be sacred to me. It can be something that I love. That's just for me. It doesn't have to be for anyone else. I don't owe anyone else anything. It can be sacred to me. And yeah, it just sort of clicked. And I think now I enjoy music so much because I'm not setting a deadline. I'm just doing it because I feel like being there and being present and doing it and playing it because I love it. So, I mean, Elliot and I have had so many conversations about music that he was cheeky, and he said, well, you're going to sing and play. He said,
Surprise.
I love that.
Yeah.
Also, I'm like, that resonates with me so hard. Music is the love of my life. I think too, like, especially I'm like thinking of like, you were 18 when you started Motherland, right?
I actually might have been 20. I think it was 20.
Okay, you were 18.
But I was playing an 18-year-old. Yeah, I was very young.
But like, it sort of reminds me, like, personally, like, I was like, I want to be on Broadway. Like, that's what I have to do. That's like my whole life's dream since I was like 8 years old. And I auditioned for colleges for musical theater, and I didn't get into any of them. And it was like so devastating. And then I like took a step back from musical theater for a while, and I was still singing. Like, I sang in a cappella, and like, just like full circle, we just wrote a musical that I got to star in. And it just is like, but the point is like, I think like when you take, I agree, like when you take that pressure off of it, like I stepped away from musical theater because like it got to a point where I couldn't love it anymore because it was so intense. There was so much pressure.
Yes.
And so to like come back to it with like without that pressure and with that just love and joy was one of the best experiences of my life, because I could come back to it being like, oh my God, I remember how much I love this thing, not like everything that surrounded it that felt stressful.
Yeah. Eventually, it's just, you put it's pressure of the self, but it's like sometimes you need that space in order to. You don't know it's a brick wall when you're standing 4 inches away from the brick wall. You got to step back 10 feet to see the thing.
Yep.
So, have you ever read the book Big Magic? I will recommend it to the ends of the earth. Actually, Jess, who plays Tally, she was the one who brought it to me. It's by the same Elizabeth Gilbert. I think she was the one who wrote it. But it speaks to that idea. I think it tells she tells a story about, this one woman who lived and died by a figure skating career. She wanted so badly to make it work, and something happened. I think she either injured herself or, she missed an opportunity, and that was it. So she threw in the skates and didn't touch them again. And then she sort of had this reawakening when she was 40 and went, I don't do anything that I love for me. I have nothing for me. I do everything for everyone else. I'm fulfilling everyone else's expectations. What do I want for myself? And, I think it was her partner that said, well, you used to skate, right? And so she got back in her skates and did it. But it wasn't to win a competition. It wasn't because her coach wanted her to or her parents. It was for her because she loved it. And, she does it constantly now to this day. So the story goes. But it speaks so much to that idea. And I just thought it was beautiful. It was another way that, helped me understand where my music career is at and how it's something that I can have that's just sacred to me.
Yeah. I love that. I'm about to cry. That was beautiful.
I'm also hearing, Ellie, that you're like, I just was like burnt out on musical theater until I was doing like a lead role with songs being written like specifically for me personally.
I was like,
drag her, drag her.
I can't do it.
I gotta lighten it up back up. Come on.
Come on. But yes, I do love being the Starly, and that's okay.
But that's it, though.
And I love writing songs for you, Ellie, so it's okay.
Thank you, Lee.
I used to do musical theater just so I could sing on a stage. So, like, I feel you. It's like,
yes,
it's such a beautiful performance art.
When you're ready to do musical again, let us know. We'll work on our next one. We'll make it happen.
Amazing.
I'll write songs for you personally too, Taylor, is what I'm saying.
Perfect.
Lee always is just like collecting our cast every time I love it. I do love it.
Yes.
Motherland,
listen, we gotta make it happen, okay?
Yes. Motherland the musical.
I wouldn't do it. I will do it. Listen.
I mean, we still have some episodes left in season 3, but I'm like, you can't tell us, but like, is there gonna be a musical episode in season 3? Can you imagine?
Oh my God. That would be so incredible.
So we like forbid the musical idea. Like we very early on, we went to the producers. We were like, this can't happen, right? I think we were like, did y'all see Riverdale did a musical episode? Everyone's kind of doing that, right?
They've done like 2. They've done like many.
Yeah. And so we went to them and we're like, so just letting you know that's not in our contract. It won't be happening. Like very early on, we were like,
but if they hand you a guitar on set, that's okay. Yeah.
That doesn't count as a musical episode.
That's the thing. It's just like there's no like forced choreographed sing and dance number.
Counterpoint, it would be counterpoint.
It would not.
The
make any
Alder
sense.
Anacostia dance number would be out of this world, and we have all been robbed. Is what I'm saying.
She would bust down. She would not let me dance. Let me tell you, she has a video of me that I think we were trying to teach me how to twerk, but now she calls me corner because I look like a 90-degree angle because I have literally nothing back there. So yeah, so my nickname to her is Corner. So if you ever get a chance to chat with her, I'm like, how's Corner doing? She'll howl.
Tough.
Rough. I was like, okay, picking. And Demetra is not going to let me get away with anything. Like that was on the pilot that she told me. She's like, damn, Corner, you're like a 90-degree angle. And I was like, okay. Ego was going to take a seat this one. More squats.
I want a number with the biddies. That's what I want. I want a musical episode, biddies dance troupe.
My God.
That I would pay for with Cheryl Lee Ralph as like the front woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, it would be hilarious.
It would be so funny.
Like, but I would want to see it on SNL. Like, I can't have it in the actual series of Motherland.
And then I want a stage version. Like I want a high school somewhere where you have like one kid who has to come out as the mycelium, and it's just like them in like a giant thing of like tulle with like some like big mushrooms stuck to it.
Ellie has to be cast as Rael.
I'll take it. No,
because that's the only way we get Ellie in the show.
I mean, Ellie, you have to be cast as Tally. Like, why is this even a question?
I would like to play. Yeah, I would vibe up with Tally for sure.
Come on,
I am a living exclamation mark as well.
Yes,
love that.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep. Tally also has had a great character arc. I think hers is like one of the best.
This season, phenomenal for her.
Yeah,
phenomenal for her. She really. Also, can anyone back me up on this? I'm trying to remember her name. You probably won't be able to unsee this. If you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. What is the wife's name in You? Have you seen the Netflix show You?
Yes. Yeah. Which, yes.
Like the second and third, who plays Love? She plays Love. Victoria Pedretti.
Yes.
That's her name.
Yeah.
I started seeing, like, when Jess put on her civvy clothes, I was like, oh my God, why are you not cast as her sibling in something? Because Jess is serving Victoria Pedretti
Yes.
this whole...
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
compliment.
Are you aware you're going to break the gaze with this, though?
Yeah, do you know how much the gays love Victoria Pedretti?
Really?
How much?
Oh.
Yes.
Catherine
Have you
Sandcliffe,
watched?
she's so
have
hot.
you watched Bly Manor?
Yes, I have. I
Okay.
love Victoria
she's a
Pedretti.
little bit popular post that.
Yeah, after Bly Manor, man.
A little just see, listen. Here's the thing. Once you play gay, the gays are here for you.
I thought you were
forever.
going to try to rhyme it. I don't know. Like
I thought so too.
Yeah. But I don't know.
so too, but-
You'll have to come up with something better than that. Oh, once you play
Once
gay,
you go
the
gay,
gays
it's
are
the
here
only
to
way.
stay. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Come on.
So
retitle
I
the
just
episode.
think
Come on,
because
yes.
the other thing that I love about Motherland is, like, yes, you have like Rayla as a ship and whatever, but then you also just have people ship everybody with everybody in this show. Like,
Me
it's,
too. I love it too.
the crack ships are out of
so
control.
much chaos.
So
Me
much
and-
chaos.
Me and Ashley,
so much.
because me and Ashley just ship ourselves. We're Ashler. Like, we...
Oh my God.
I made this joke to her the other day, and I was like, she's like, do you see this bell collar stuff? And I'm like, yeah, but don't worry, baby. Like,
Oh my
After
God.
but yeah, we always got a kick out of it. And, like, I'm a big Talder fan myself since day one.
I mean, who isn't? Come on.
I saw them because we were sort of shooting our dream sequences all together, and then I had to sort of show up in one of the illusions, and, like, it's like me and then Lynn, and there's this whole, so I got to kind of see firsthand, and they don't always keep some of the stuff in. Like, I wish Jess could be telling you this, but, like, they do play a lot of, like, are they gonna kiss, are they not? And they only keep them in sometimes, but
okay. Let's say, because we did have Lynn on already.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Lynn's a big Talder fan too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lynn told us
Lynn
this too.
basically
She was like,
I'm just trying to make Jess, like, shit herself on.
Yeah.
it would work. Like, Jess came up to me, she's like, do you have any idea what it's like to have Lynn dangle that in front of you? Like, it's like, it's horrible torment. And I was like, yeah. So what you said, like, you're point blank clear. Feel for you, girl. Like, enjoy that. Like, that sucks.
I think
everyone
the main
and their
takeaway here
mama.
is, yes, we would love Jess and Victoria Pedretti in anything ever. That's
yes. Bottom line.
Yeah. And
but yeah,
the fans
wouldn't
will
matter
be very
what
happy.
where your sexuality is on the spectrum. If you have Lynn Renee dangling a kiss in front of you, there's
It's
no way you're not
over.
going to take that bait.
It's done.
None of us are that.
So what I
None
said.
of us
None
are
of us
that
are that
strong.
strong.
No one survives that. No one gets that. Okay,
Yeah. How is Jess still alive?
barely crawling.
Yeah. She's just hanging on. Right? Oh my God.
It's the
I cannot.
mycelium. It's keeping her going. It keeps us all going.
We're
Keeps
bringing
us
it all
all going.
back. Lee, where are we? I'm like, are we?
I don't
Are we going to
know.
go into our Q&A, or do we have?
Q&A.
Do you have any last things you'd like to tell listeners, tell the fans about anything about the show? Last thoughts?
Not
What-
without spoiling anything. All I can say
Okay.
is I want to play
Buckle up
Q&A.
for
What is
season
this?
three.
This sounds amazing.
All right, we're going to play
Okay,
Q&A.
we'll
Here we
do
go.
it. It's time, Ellie. It's time.
And gay.
Question number 1. What type of witch specialization would be your favorite? A, blaster, B, fixer, C, knower, or D, necro?
Necro.
Nice.
Dark. I like it.
Yeah, it's so dark.
Very cool.
Okay, question 2. Now, listen, I decided to go a little different because everybody, you could do like, who's your favorite? Who's the best? Who's the whatever?
Mhm.
No, I want to know who is the most stubborn of the main 4 out of A, Rael, B, Abigail, C, Tally, or D, Scylla.
I mean, I would always say, like, it would be Rael or Abigail, but if you really look at who never folds, it's Scylla.
I don't think there's a wrong answer in the bunch, personally.
No?
She just
A lot
doesn't,
of-
like, hold
Every
her
time
ground.
I
It's
look
'cause
at
she's
it
always
again, I'm
right,
like,
though.
it's all of them.
she's always right. Like, I mean, she's
Well, she did kill a lot of people.
yeah. I mean, not right in that sense, but like when you're having just like interpersonal conversations, and she's like, bang, bang, bang. I said what I said, and Abigail's like, and then, or I'm like, I don't know how to feel, and then she, we all come around to her
And
opinion.
Tally's
We're
like,
she
ooh,
she did
shiny
right.
things.
Yeah, that always. But like, we always come back around to her opinion. So you know what? I'm gonna say Stella. In the
Good
best way.
choice. See, it's not a trick. Every choice is the right choice. All right, here we go. Question number 3. Have you ever tried to do your own spell? A, yes, or B, no?
Wait, like me personally?
Yeah, like
In real
not
life,
on the
yeah.
show. Not on the show.
Absolutely. Do you want to see my? I have a full altar right there.
Nice.
Wait, did that happen? All right, did that like fascination start for you after the show or before?
I mean, I was sort of always in touch with like earth practices. I loved tarot. I loved yoga and meditation, and it was just sort of like when I started studying about it, and I realized all of these things are so closely tied, and I had already sort of been practicing some of Wiccan culture that I just sort of dove right into it. I sort of hit this pivotal moment where I realized, I was really out of touch with my feminine side, that I use masculinity as a forefront and sort of in a toxic way, the way I approach everything. So I really use this to sort of navigate my balance, and I still am. Yeah. So
I love that.
I definitely credit Motherland to sort of the tip of the iceberg,
You're pushing you right over it.
Yeah, pushing me over the full-fledged, like I have a cape, I got gloves, like if I want to dress up, I got a hat. Mm-hmm.
You're ready.
Full on.
Excellent.
Got a cloak.
Okay. Question 4. What was your favorite? I feel like this is going to be different for you to answer versus listeners to answer, but what was your favorite Rayla scene out of A, flying on Salva, B, the Beltane flower in the hair, C, Bellwether wedding, or D, the season 2 reunion?
I'm still going to go back to the Salva scene. Like that was such a great moment for Molly and I. Like that was just sort of like the glue in the bond.
Love it. All right, question number 5, our final question. All right, what is your favorite relationship trope? A, love at first sight. B, enemies to lovers. C, betrayal / forgiveness. Or D, us against the world.
D, for sure. I use that in my own. Yeah, it's just like, as soon as it becomes me versus you, you lose it. It's the connection ceases. You have to believe that you're both bigger than anything. There can't be that imbalance, or it crumbles.
Great answer. C, you did great. How do you feel? You were stressed before. How are you feeling
Yes. Now? Oh, I'm nervous until I'm just gonna wait to get flamed on Twitter. So
you're gonna be fine.
I'm actually gonna get my butt waxed. You're like, absolutely not. There was a wrong answer.
No.
This is the best scene of Rayla.
Yeah, we'll see how the fans fight,
no
but it's
kidding.
okay. Remember, you can give us your own answers to this episode's Q&A questions on our Twitter at Let's Hang Out Pod, and if you want to give Taylor a butt wax, you can do that as well. I was trying to say it so seriously. Sorry.
And if they'd like to do that, Taylor, where can everyone find you on social media?
You can contact my manager and write him a very strongly worded letter. No, don't do that. Please don't. You'll never talk to me again. Twitter at Taylor Hickson, and my Instagram is taylor.hickson. And then I think there's a Facebook page somewhere that's sort of connected to the two. So all the posts filter onto there. If you Google me, I think it comes up.
Amazing.
Fair enough.
Do you have any projects coming up that you can tell us about?
I don't have anything concrete because a lot of the stuff I'm looking at are, they're indie films. Those are the things where I'm just like, okay, I've done these big commitments over the last 6 years or so, signing contracts to do television series. So it was like, I'd love to do more indie films for a moment. But the problem with those is, funding is sort of iffy and, it comes and goes. And so it's just sort of a waiting game, but there's nothing concrete. Everything's kind
Okay,
of
Motherland the musical,
period.
2024, 25,
Yes.
somewhere around there,
And keep an eye. I'm sure by the time this comes out, there will be some stuff that is announced. And if anyone wants to know what Taylor's going to be up to, make sure you follow her on all of her social medias. Taylor, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This was so fun.
This was amazing. You guys are always so fun. Thank you so much.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from all of you. We love continuing to build this community, and we just like to shout out some of our favorite things. We just want to shout out so many people who have been so nice. We came back 2 weeks ago with our first episode of season 6. We are thrilled to be back, and people were so excited that we have new episodes out. And so we just wanted to shout out some of the people who reached out to us on social media. Bonnie, who reached out to us on Instagram and said, "Ooh, you're back. I've had a busy Monday, so this gives me something to look forward to when I drive home." And it gives us something to look forward to as well.
And Jacqueline Rosashino, who is one of our Lesbian Jesus patrons, who said, "So happy you're back on Patreon." We also are so happy that we're back. We also came back even faster this season just for you, because we know that there are a lot of people who are really, really up to date with the show. So we love you all that you have been here for 6 seasons and are still caught up every week. So
crazy.
This one's for you.
Thank you so much. We just made us, it feels good.
It feels
good when people are happy to see you again. So, and as always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Tanya Ferguson,
Jacqueline Rose Nishino,
Sarah and Julia,
Alana Rosen,
Lizette Stye,
Adi Benitez,
and Fiona W.
And our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen,
Julia Gonzalez,
and Leah Hendley.
Thank you all so much for all of your support. We could not make this show without you.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Let's Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com. We love reading your emails so that we can share them with the world.
You can check out our website at letshangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use for podcasts, make sure you subscribe so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop.
We also are posting videos up on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/letshangoutpod to catch those.
Let's Hang Out is an independently produced show hosted by us with audio production by me, Ellie. Our production assistant is Kristen Murison, and everything else under the sun by Lee Holmes Foster.
If you want to help support our little independent team, there are so many ways you can do that. The first is you can leave us a rating and a review on the Apple Podcasts app. It helps new people find the show.
If you want to support us and join our Patreon family, you can do that at bit.ly/lespatreon. You will get ad-free episodes and now bonus episodes that you will not see on our main feed, so you're going to want to join.
We also have merch. If you want to show your support by rocking some Les Hangout swag, you can get tees and tanks and totes and sweaters and all sorts of good stuff. You can find all of our designs at bit.ly/lesshop.
And remember, we have a queer production company making queer podcast musicals with guaranteed happy endings that you can find everywhere at $beanprod.
Or you can check out our website at dollarbeanproductions.com.
And you can listen to all of the episodes of our first show, The Flame, on any podcasting app.
And if you want to help support us in making more musicals, you can join our Patreon specifically for our production company. You can find that at bit.ly/dollarbeanpatreon.
If you want to follow us individually, you can find me at Ellie Brigida on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ellis H. Foster.
With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee. And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. 2 guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're 2 dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.